Was catching up with a few of my clients recently, and they brought up this question to me. Sherwin, we have never talked about integrated development. Are they worth buying or investing? Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sherwin. So to answer my client's question, I actually made a video all about integrated development, and in this video itself I will cover a few points, mainly what is an integrated development or how do you classify them, identify them. Secondly, how many integrated developments there are in Singapore. Thirdly, how are the performance of this integrated development, and lastly, of course, our usual signature analysis and deep dive into the pros of buying an integrated development, the cons, and if there are better alternatives. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so how do you define an integrated development? Integrated development, usually there's three elements involved. Firstly, it consists of residential, commercial, and lastly, the most important, integrated with a transport hub. Okay, not to confuse, most of the time when people talk about mixed-use development, it is very different from integrated development because mixed-use development lack the factor of transportation hub, so you can't really call them integrated development. One example of that would be the recently launched Zion Grand. They have commercial at the bottom, but it's not directly linked to any transport hub or MRT station. Okay, so how many integrated developments are there in Singapore? Let us have a look. Okay, if you look at the numbers here, okay, Compass Heights, right, was the first integrated development, and it is just right next to Sengkang MRT, so it's actually linked. Built in 2002, so the oldest one is also around 23 years old already, and connected to Compass One more. Okay, one thing you would notice, most of the integrated developments are within the OCR and RCR area. We have yet to see a development in CCR that can be considered integrated. Okay, so if you count here, Compass Heights, that's one. The other is Centuries, Bedok Residences, Hillian, Watertown, North Park, Woodleigh, Sengkang Grand, Pasir Ris 8, Reserve Residences, and Parktown. So there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, out of so many hundreds of condos in Singapore, there's only 11 integrated developments. So one thing you would definitely get if you buy into an integrated development, right, is scarcity. Okay, yes, because there's only so many MRT stations as well. Okay, upcoming one, I think at the end of February or early March, one interesting one which will be launching would be Pioneery, would be at Tampines West. That would be the latest integrated development. Of course, we do not have much information about that yet, but once I do have it, I'll release a review video on that video separately. Of course, if you would like me to update you privately on all the news and development of this new integrated development, do drop me a DM as well or follow me so you'll get the latest insights available. Okay, so over here we have 9 integrated developments, and how are they performing, or how were they performing for the past year? Okay, so if you look over here, they all have quite a significant amount of profitable transaction, from Compass Heights all the way to Sengkang Grand Residences. Okay, Pasir Ris 8 just recently TOP, I think around 4 to 5 months ago, and the number of profitable transactions actually went up because this, if I'm not wrong, it was done in August. Okay, so as of now, the number of sub-sale in the development itself would have hit double digit, but you will see quite a healthy number of profitable transactions from all the integrated development. But does this mean, right, they are a good buy? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so when you look at past performance, right, people always like to talk about profit. Why not we look at the losses of all the integrated development? Because I cannot be telling you just the good side, you need to see the other side of the coin as well. Okay, so for Compass Heights, even though it has 525 profitable transactions, similarly you have 89 unprofitable transactions as well. For the Centuries, out of 573 profitable transactions, you have 14 unprofitable sale. Bedok Resi 19229, and for Watertown it's 405 profitable to 33 unprofitable transactions. Okay, moving on to the slightly latest one, North Park Residences, 210 profitable sales as compared to 3. Woodley Residences 110 profitable as compared to 2. Okay, Sengkang Grand and Pasir Ris 8, 0 unprofitable transactions. Okay, one thing you will note is the number of unprofitable transactions throughout the year actually went down. Okay, so over here everything was like double digit, close to triple digit. Over here, right, they are less than double digit. Okay, what causes this shift? If you were to look deeper into it, right, it is not so much that the integrated developments nowadays are more well sought after, more efficiently built, so that the prices hold or people want to buy and pay a premium, hence leading to lesser unprofitable transaction. It has more to do with our government. So if you look, right, Watertown, right, was launched before 2013, and North Park Residences, right, was launched in March 2015. Okay, so this is how I categorize both the integrated development before 2013 and the integrated development after 2013. So one straight line over here to divide the two is the measures that our government come up with. Okay, so 2013 onwards, our government actually came up with a lot of cooling measure, and this kicked out, I think, 90 to 99% of the speculators in the market. So people that are buying after 2013, right, they have a much stronger holding power, hence less speculator and less unprofitable transactions. That's all to it. Okay, so with all the premium or all the attributes of integrated development, as long as you have the holding power, you are able to hold for the longest term. Don't be worried that there wouldn't be demand, because there's only so much supply in the market. It's just how much you can earn and whether you out-earn your peers in the neighborhood. So why do people buy integrated developments? There are three reasons to that, the main three reasons. The first is because of its unmatched convenience. If you were to look at it, right, there are so many amenities, facilities and transportation just at your doorstep. You do not even need to cross the road. You can also have cost savings because you do not need to buy a car. And most of the integrated development nowadays, they do not come with one-to-one parking lot. Sometimes the parking lot is only at 60%, or sometimes they separate the mall and residences parking lot. Okay, and the second one is of course the strong rental appeal. So if you are investor buying for rentability, firstly you expect, right, the turnover rate to be very fast because of the unmatched convenience, and for expats that do not drive, this is a huge plus point. Okay, so if you look at this, right, this is the Centris. Centris, mind you, is around 20 years old already, but the implied rental yield, right, is still around 3.7% and close to 4%, and this is at Jurong West. And next is Sengkang Grand Residences, something slightly newer, is also at 3.4%. So integrated development is giving quite good rental yield, and the vacancy rate is very low as well. So it's quite a no-brainer for people that are looking purely based on rental. Okay, and lastly, of course, is the scarcity premium, because to be considered an integrated development, you must have that transport hub or MRT factor, right? And how many MRT stations are there that allow you to build residential on top of it? Okay, so based on a recent research done up by one of the leading agency, only 1.8%, right, of all non-landed private units are in integrated developments, with just 9 existing developments. Of course, with the latest one, this 1.8% might increase to maybe 2%. Okay, of course, the latest one is binary lah. If you are keen, do drop me a text, which I mentioned earlier, and I'll share with you more if I have more information. This is just something for you to note. One thing to add on, there's still one more integrated development which was launched early last year, also at Tampines, called Parktown Residences. 1,193 units. It is I think it is the largest integrated development, and they only have less than 7% remaining as of today, as of this video. Okay, so if you can see, the 1 bedroom plus study fully sold, 2 bedroom fully sold, 2 bedroom premium fully sold, and if I'm not wrong, the 3 bedroom compact is fully sold as well. So what is left over is only the bigger units, and I will expect the developer to raise price pretty soon because one of its competitor Pinery is launching soon, and the developers won't be launching it cheap lah. Okay, some basic information for the Pinery is slightly smaller. This is 1193 unit for Parktown. Pinery is only 588, so it's about half the land size of Parktown Residences. Okay, it's at Tampines West, Street 95 over here. And of course, there's a MRT station here, all the walkway linking all the way here lah, okay? And of course, there's an EC launching here as well. And for me, myself, I'm actually targeting the EC at this area, okay? So, as important as it is to understand why people buy, you should understand why you shouldn't be buying into the project as well. If you're someone that value your own privacy, less crowd, the noise and crowd for an integrated development might be too much for you to handle. And on top of that, right, the complexity of getting into your residential unit, because it's understandable. If you mix commercial and residential, sometimes you might get intruder, maybe on purpose or not on purpose. They will try to find their way into residential. So for residential, for an integrated development, there has to be more security measures, more gates you have to pass through, and ways you have to find around. Of course, if you stay there for over 2-3 years, you might be able to find your way around easier. But for your visitors, guests, and delivery, they might have an issue, okay? And secondly is the higher entry cost for an integrated development. Usually you are paying a premium. Why so? Because the developer also pay a premium to the government to buy this plot of land because of its unmatched convenience. So the question would be, right, would this premium be worth paying for? Or if you save this premium and buy somewhere else cheaper, right, will you stand to gain more in the future? Okay, which we will discuss later. And lastly will be the future exit strategy. It's a bit long of a stretch because it might be something 40-50 years down the road. Because for mixed integrated development, okay, not just integrated, even mixed development, to en bloc, right, the success rate is usually not high because of the commercial element. Okay, so now on top of the commercial element, you have the transport hub element. What if the MRT is just at your basement? How do you convince the government to allow you to en bloc and rebuild everything, right, leaving the MRT intact? It is very, very hard, right? So this is something for you to consider. Of course, if you are buying something that is new or there's still like 80, 70 plus years left, not so much of a worry. But what happens if you are buying in at like 60 years time, 50 years time? I think en bloc would be very, very hard lah. Most likely scenario will be government taking back the land and redeveloping it themselves. Okay, now let's move on to a very interesting case study between 3 new launch condo. Okay, how I picked these 3 new launch condo is because they were all launched during the same period, and interestingly enough, they were all within walking distance to one another. Okay, so the first one, if you will look over this blue plot over here, this is the integrated development called Woodleigh Residences, and this one over here is Park Colonia, and lastly this one facing the river is Trevor. Okay, interestingly, all launched during the same period, I think 2016, 2017, and they all TOP almost about the same time. So it will be very interesting to note, firstly, how much did all projects appreciate over a 6 to 7 year span? Okay, secondly, what were the entry price difference, and is the premium justifiable? And lastly, the volume of transaction or the demand. Okay, so let's look at the appreciation first. Orange color is Woodleigh Residences, light blue is Trevor, and lastly dark blue is Park Colonia. Okay, very obvious. Woodleigh Residences appreciated the least, followed by Trevor, and followed by Park Colonia. Okay, these 3 are very interesting case studies. So the one with the most convenience and most amenities made the least amount of money, as compared to, right, something that is just right across the road but at a slightly lower entry price made the most amount of money. Even the one that is furthest away but selling even cheaper still make more than the one that is more convenient. So my question to you is, does location matter as much, or entry price is more important? Okay, let's look at the entry price difference between Trevor, right, and Woodleigh Residences. The difference between entry price is 30%. Okay, so owners buying Trevor, right, let's say it is 1,000 square feet at 1,000 PSF. Okay, they are buying at 1 million. But someone buying into Woodleigh Residences, if they are buying at 1,000 square feet, they are buying somewhere around 1,003 PSF, 1,300 PSF, because of the 30% premium. So the question I put across to my clients when I show them this case study, right, is before you judge whether you want to buy an integrated development, especially a new launch, you have to look at the comparables. Are there comparables around you which are much cheaper and more value for money? Because if you bought here at 300 PSF cheaper, you're effectively saving $300,000. And with this $300,000, you can actually buy a brand new car and still have savings of $100,000 for you to do other kinds of investment. Okay. And next, if you were to compare Park Colonial and Woodleigh Residences, similarly, the price gap is at 16%. And this 16%, is it justifiable? Let's look at the map again. This is Park Colonial. This is Woodleigh Residences. If you want to go and assess the amenities of Woodleigh Residences, you just need to do one thing. Open your door and cross the road. You will reach the MRT station, you'll reach your supermarket, McDonald's, cafe, restaurant, salon, clinics, everything. This is the joke I made my client. You save $160,000 if you choose to cross the road every single day for the rest of your life. Is it worth it or not? Okay. Of course, not just the saving, the appreciation, you are making more as well. And lastly, if we were to look more into it, right, is the volume of transaction. Does being away hinder the number or deter the number of people wanting to buy into a further project? Answer is no. If you look at the volume, same. Orange is Woodleigh Residences. Okay, these are still the new launch and sub-sale, but these are the resale for the recent years. If you look at Trevor and Park Colonial, they form the majority of the transaction between these three condos. So the demand for these three condos is, I would dare argue, is the same. Because why so? You only have a limited number of upgraders per year, and if they were to look at the projects around the area, right, firstly they would not just look at Woodleigh Residences. They will look at Woodleigh Residences, Park Colonial, and Trevor, because they all TOP at the same time. Once they compare these three, right, next one they will compare is layout efficiency. Okay, after layout efficiency, what else? Is the location, amenities. And lastly, right, which I would say is one of the most important, right, is my entry price. Because to be honest, they all share about the same attributes. And the asking price for the three projects can be as different as 30 to 16%. Why so? Because the owners for Trevor and Park Colonial bought 30 and 16% lower than Woodleigh Residences. So even if Woodleigh Residences owner want to sell at a lower price, they cannot sell lower than their purchase price. Okay, and your purchase price, if the Park Colonial and Woodleigh Residences were to sell at your purchase price, they are already making a profit. Hence, always judge based on the 3E analysis. Firstly, does the entry and exit make sense to you? If you are the only integrated development in the area, then yes, you do have an advantage if the rest of the condos are much older. Okay. Secondly will be the efficiency. The only difference in efficiency in this three condo case, right, I would say would be the floor plan, because the rest, right, they are all within walking distance. It doesn't pose like a significant difference to the buyer today if they were to buy 5 minutes away, okay, where they get to save $200,000-$300,000. And the last would be the emotional factor, okay. Sometimes it might be really the convenience of just taking a lift all the way down, and the status of staying in an integrated development. But then again, the question is your emotion worth paying $300,000 more as compared to saving $300,000? Okay, so this is how you put a number into justifying the emotional value. So before you buy any integrated development, be sure, right, to study the surrounding. I would say it makes more sense than a normal mixed development or a resale development. Okay, so this is a point which I want to share with my clients and to share with everyone out there looking to invest or buying into integrated development. Not saying integrated development is not good, okay? Just to summarize, integrated development still make money. Just that the amount of profit you can make over a same time span as compared to other new launch in the area, if any, or resale in the area, might not be as much. But if you are buying for own stay and you don't mind not earning that additional 5, 6, 7% because it really gives you a lot of convenience, right? Why not? By all means, go ahead. Okay, with that, I'll end off my video. And yeah, do remember, Pinery is launching soon. If you want some analysis or some comparison, do reach out to me. If not, I'm Sherwin. Thanks for watching. Do remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel.